So if you read the news today, one of the big stories is that on Friday, Republicans in Congress introduced a bill and took a big step towards the dismantling of the Department of Education. So let's see what they said. And spoiler alert, stick to the end because this is going to be one of those times where I'm going to stress read beyond the headlines. Okay. On Friday, Republican lawmakers reintroduced a bill to formally dismantle the Department of Education. The bill, H.R. 899, contains just a single sentence: the Department of Education shall terminate on December 31st, 2026. A single sentence bill. My goodness, how dramatic. Unelected bureaucrats, this is a quote, unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. should not be in charge of our children's intellectual and moral development, said Representative Thomas Massie, the Republican from Kentucky. He goes on to say, states and local communities are best positioned to shape curricula that meet the needs of their students. State and local communities are best positioned to do that, huh? To shape the curricula? Remember that. Then let's go over to the Senate, where the good Senator Mike Rounds from South Dakota says the federal Department of Education has never educated a single student, and it's long past time to end the bureaucratic department that causes more harm than good. We all know local control is best when it comes to education. Everyone raised in South Dakota can think of a teacher who played a big part in their educational journey. Local school boards and state departments of education know best what their students need, not unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. Now, I hope you're sitting down for what I'm about to say because it's kind of spicy stuff. Are you ready? They're lying. They're lying. These Republican congressional leaders are lying. You know how I know? Do me a favor, Google this. Does the Department of Education set curricula standards for state schools? No. This is the answer you'll find. No. The U.S. Department of Education does not set curricula standards. Huh. So what was the problem they were saying? What was the problem they were saying? They were saying that state and local communities know best for their students, right? Let's see. Instead, states and local governments are responsible for establishing curriculum standards. This is what I mean when I tell you guys that Republicans don't have policies to run on. They don't. They have buzzwords and they have culture war issues. That's all. That's why they're always campaigning. That's why they're always on Twitter trying to own the libs rather than actually governing. Because get the bureaucrats out of my kid's elementary class sounds really good. That's a good sell, good line. And people tend to agree with it because that's what's happening. There are no bureaucrats in your kid's elementary school class. There never has been. There never will be. That's not what the Department of Education does. Trump has created this solution looking for a problem. Not Trump. It's been a conservative issue for a long time, dismantling the Department of Education. But that's all it is. The problem doesn't exist. So what does the Department of Education actually do? What does it mean for people who are against the Department of Education? I'll show you. Here's a couple of the highlights here. Title I, they provide funding for children from low-income families. And this funding is allocated to state and local education agencies based on census information, so the state and local boards can divvy it up as they see fit. Annual funding to state and local government supports special education programs to meet the needs of children with disabilities at no cost to parents, making sure everyone has an equal opportunity to attain the education that they are entitled to. School improvement programs make sure that the roofs don't leak when it rains and make sure that the doors close properly and the lights come on when you turn a switch. Stuff to make, learning possible. How about higher education? Well, the Education Department administers two programs, Pell Grants and federal loans. Pell Grants provide assistance to college students based on their family's ability to pay. So basically, giving people a chance to go to college who otherwise wouldn't have that chance due to financial reasons. They're otherwise qualified, but they can't afford it. Pell Grants will help. And the federal student loan subsidizes students by offering more generous loan terms than they would receive in the private market. They're including income-driven repayment plans, scheduled debt forgiveness, lower interest rates, and deferred payments. Basically giving people a chance to attain a higher education if they so choose. Not to mention free and reduced lunch, free breakfast for students who may come from low-income families, something like that. We just want to make sure that no kids are hungry, actively hungry, while they're trying to learn algebra, right? So that's what these Republicans are actually against. They're not against bureaucrats being in your kids' classrooms because they're not there. They're trying to play to the emotions of their base so that they'll keep voting for them and they can cut the funding for the Department of Education, which is 4% of the federal budget, and then they can redistribute those funds in, say, tax breaks for the wealthy. Read beyond the headlines.